Hey, you think track days are expensive? Wrong, because your track day doesn't have to cost $1,000 if you don't waste money on the wrong things. This is the smartest way to start track days on a budget. You are watching Turbo Itchy. I've done a lot of track days, also known as high-performance driving events, and over time, I've figured out how to squeeze maximum seat time out of minimum money. Trust me, I am cheap as duck. So, let's start from the beginning. First, registration. This is where people already start overpaying without realizing it. Prices vary by track and where you live on Earth. A small local track might cost $200 for a day. A more famous track might cost $600 or more. But a lot of organizers offer early bird pricing if you sign up weeks or even months in advance. Some organizers will even give you a discount if you pay them directly instead of going through sites like Motorsport Reg that take a cut. And here's a big one. Some events let you share a car with a friend if you are both in the same run group. You just got to have a thumb war with your friend to decide whose car to bring. So now you're splitting entry fee, fuel, wear and tear, basically cutting your costs in half. But this highly depends on the organizer, so always slide into their DMs first. Give them lots of hearts and eggplant emojis. Also, most events will let you bring a passenger for free. Great if you have friends, unlike me. Please subscribe and be my friend. Next, what do you actually need? Honestly, a helmet. That's it. And even here, people mess up. Most events require a Snell-rated helmet, usually under the SA category. Motorcycle helmets are under the M category. This is my SA helmet. It's rated for fire resistance. This is my motorcycle helmet, and if there's a fire, my face will turn into Deadpool. Some organizers are okay with motorcycle helmets, but some will turn you away at the gate. They might even give you a frowny face if your SA helmet is too old. A basic SA helmet will run you about $200, but if you're not ready to commit yet to protecting your smooth brain, don't worry. A lot of events have helmet rentals. Yeah, the insides might contain dandruff from 69 sweaty men, but you'll save money. Now, let's talk about the fun bit, your car. Because a lot of people think you need some crazy expensive track weapon to show up. You don't. You have a stock 8.6? Awesome. A Prius? I've seen it. An SUV? Yep, I've seen it too. A Tesla? Some events actually don't allow any electric vehicles because electric fires are hard to put out. Miata? You'll see a dozen, but you might run into an issue if you are too tall and don't pass the broomstick test. Finally, a situation where being short is an advantage. With any convertible, you need to have rollover protection. If your head sticks up too high with a helmet, you need to get a lowered aftermarket seat or install a roll bar or cage. So, you don't need 500 horsepower. You don't need a Ferrari. You don't even need a sports car. Just go and have fun. Let's switch gears to a hot topic, mods. Now, this is where people really start wasting money. Before their first track day, car nerds go crazy. Big brick kits, big wangs, big turbos, thinking it'll make them faster. It won't. Not on your first track day. I'll be super honest. If it's your first track day, you don't need any mods. Performance mods raise the limits of the car, but my friend, you aren't getting close to the limit on your first day. You just won't. Now, if you're still not convinced and you really want performance mods, because that's what you do in Need for Speed, I made another video on mods that actually help you become a better driver. Go watch that after you finish this video, because you don't want to miss this next important point. Some mods are actually not good for the track, like your exhaust. A lot of tracks have strict decibel noise limits. If your straight piped eBay exhaust is too loud, they'll kick you out without a refund. I've seen it happen. Okay, if you really need to scratch that spending itch, here are some cheap things that will help you survive the day and avoid calling a tow truck. Torque wrench, your lug nuts. The only thing keeping your wheels attached to your car will get loose throughout the day. The heat cycling will make your nuts expand, contract, and vibrate. Something about this sounds fun. Anyways, it's good practice to tighten them after every session. If you don't have this wrench, you can borrow from other drivers at the track. Just walk up to them and tell them you want to twist your nuts. Tire pressure gauge. gauge. Even if your car has a built-in tire pressure reader, you should still get one. It's less than $10. I prefer the analog ones instead of the digital ones that keep running out of battery. Now, why do you want one? Because as you keep lapping, your tire pressure goes up and up from the heat. In between sessions, you use a tire pressure gauge to find out how much air you need to release back to your desired PSI. Too much pressure, less grip. And no, you don't need a tire inflator during the event unless you mess up really bad. Just swing by a gas station and pump air back in at the end of the day. Basic maintenance checks. If your car is leaking anything, fix it before the track day, because if it leaks on track, you are paying for cleanup. Tires and brakes need to be in a healthy condition for obvious reasons. If you don't know how to check, just bring it to a shop, because if your car looks unsafe, they will turn you away when they inspect cars in the morning. No track time, no refund, just sadness. Tow hook, tow strap. Some events may require or strongly suggest you have a tow hook or strap ready. I don't have one and never had an issue with multiple organizers. But the idea is simple. If you send it into a wall, they can pull your car out quickly without holding up the whole track. If you don't have one, they'll still tow your car, just probably in a way you won't like. But itchy viewers, if you hit a wall, your car is totaled anyway. Lap timer app. This one's not necessary, but it's very addicting. A lap timer app lets you record and keep track of your laps. You can review your sector times, racing lines, and see where you can improve. I like to use Harry's lap timer. Just mount your phone to your windshield. Now, let's move on to the most important tip for you to maximize your track day on a budget. Driver prep. Yes, prepping you. A typical track day will give you about an hour and a half to 2 hours of total seat time for the day. You are spending hundreds of dollars to go there. We need to make sure you are getting the most out of your money. If it's your first time at a track, the best prep you can do is to learn the track layout beforehand. Hear me out. You go to your first track day thinking, I'm gonna push the car, this is gonna be sick. But if you don't know the track, your entire brain is just, is that a left or a right? Where do I brake? You are not driving. You're lost. And now, instead of improving your skills, you are spending your entire session just trying to remember where to go. That's expensive confusion. You should focus on what actually matters. Driving the car. Best way to do that? Watch lap videos on YouTube. But don't just watch any car. Try to find something similar to yours in power level and drivetrain layout. Because trust me, a 500 horsepower GTR and a 140 horsepower Civic are not driving the same track the same way. Different braking points, different lines, different everything. And here's a little special tip I like to do for myself. If you've got a gaming PC, there's a good chance your local track exists in Assetto Corsa. My small local track no one heard of got modded into the game. People literally recreate real tracks, and you can download them and practice at home. It's not perfect, but even 20-30 minutes of this makes a huge difference. And ta-da! That's how you maximize your track day on a budget. Comment, like, subscribe, watch my other videos. It helps me pay for my therapist. Do it or else you lose your car keys. You've been warned.